Get to D-Hop.
Yeah.
Browns got their guy.
Well, did they get their guy? That's our question. They realized what I think everybody realized, what we said after the second preseason game, Cade York's not the guy.
Right.
I got to fall on my sword first. After the draft last year, I said that this was the pick of the draft. I loved it because it was a area of great need, and I, like the Browns, recognized him as a guy that could kick the football through the uprights. I was wrong. I was colossally wrong. And I'm still not convinced he's not going to be a kicker in the NFL.
I'm with you.
He's not going to be a kicker here.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
And if that happens, do you guys realize we'll have 4 former kickers on NFL rosters?
I actually expect it to happen.
4. I expect it to happen too. I think he's damaged goods up here. That's fixable. It'd be one thing if he couldn't hit these kicks in practice, which he clearly does. But it was obvious to me that the fan worm had turned, and he was... Every kick that was close, he would get booed. Anytime he misses a kick, he'd get booed, and he's clearly affected by that.
He was short. He was short with the media in the post game.
I thought he was too. I thought he was
ridiculous.
Dismissive.
Jay just a minute ago was like Michigan self-imposing a suspension. You didn't give us a chance to bust your balls for you saying that.
Well, no,
that was a great
listen.
pick.
I was with you.
I fully expect you to bust my balls. Look, I deserve it. I sat in this chair after the draft, and I vehemently proclaimed. And for 1 week, it looked like I was right.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
This is what the Browns have needed since Phil left.
Yeah.
And I didn't like using 4th-round currency on it, but that's sometimes what you have to do.
It was the one
or
opportunity.
3rd round. Where did we take him?
Fourth
round.
But it was the one opportunity to get the number 1 guy on your draft board at that position, at the greatest position of need.
So you got to do it.
I'm still not going to kill him for the pick.
No, because if you look at the history of drafting kickers, by the way,
I'm not killing him for it either.
There are more kickers that are undrafted than drafted that have been successful.
Is that true?
That is.
I didn't know what the number was. What is the split right now?
I will give you this.
I have it, but we'll pull it up.
Because D-Hop was drafted too.
Yeah. But that may be well and good, but if you have a position of need,
yeah, you got to fill
it with the guy that you think is best for the job. They tried that.
Teams don't have a good. Here we go. Number of kickers who have made at least 1 Pro Bowl since 2005. 10 drafted, 20 undrafted. Now, the only thing teams...
No, I'm more interested in guys that are holding jobs currently.
Aggregate field goal percentage made since 2005, 82% drafted, 84. I don't know just over the last few years.
Undrafted kickers are actually performing better than... I wonder if that's a pressure that the drafted kickers feel. Look, if you can't handle pressure, you're in the wrong business.
If you look at the last 8 kickers that were drafted, I think it was... Only 2 of them are any good. Evan McPherson for the Bengals and the guy from Buffalo. I can't think of his name. The rest have been... What's that?
Yeah,
Tyler Bass.
The rest of them have been disasters.
I mean, I don't know what happened to Cade York, but he can make pressure kicks. At 18 and 19 years old, he was making pressure kicks.
Who cares?
Yeah.
But no, my
Who cares?
point...
It's a controlled environment, Jason. This is Cleveland. He was doing it in a controlled environment.
Though, he hit some kicks
That's
at
a
LSU.
controlled environment.
How is it a control? It's no different. It's a game on the line.
No, they don't.
LSU?
No.
He's not a dome.
They don't play in a dome.
No.
Okay, well, they play in warm weather.
But he made a
They
kick.
do.
It's not windy and crazy.
But he made a kick in Florida. I'm just saying he's made pressure kicks before.
Yeah,
That's
that
not the
kick in
problem.
Florida was
I
huge.
think he got his confidence shook for the first time in his life, and he hasn't figured out how to handle that.
I agree with that.
And I think he will come back at some point,
But who cares?
It's not going to be
Yeah.
here.
Like, who
I agree
cares?
with that.
Everybody being so upset. Every time the Browns cut a player, people go nuts. This guy's going to
I
become
don't
a
think
star.
anybody's upset about this.
Not you guys, but our fans, they're so crazy.
Are the fans?
Oh, my God.
Are
This
the
guy's
fans
going to become a
upset
Hall
that
of
Cade York
Famer.
got
This guy's
cut?
going to become a star. How many guys have the Browns cut over the years that became great players anywhere else? I'm sure it's not more than other
Not many.
teams.
Not
Well,
many.
I don't know that the fan base is upset. I
don't think the fan base is upset.
I think everybody was. The group I was with when I told them they were cut, I was
Thank
golfing
God.
when I forced them.
Yeah,
Every
yeah.
single one of them were like, yes.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, you had to let him go. It's hard to believe we're here after he
Yes.
made that game-winning kick against
Yes.
Carolina.
it is.
But the reality
That was
of
less
it
than a
is-
year ago, Bull.
Yeah.
The reality of it is when you look at him kicking and you say LSU, people got to realize Cleveland is crazy. Like, this isn't New York, but kind of who talks about a kicker the whole?
Well, Baton Rouge is crazy too.
But
Crazy.
But the vitriol is
That's all they have.
We was on him from Jump Street, right?
Yeah.
And he has to see that when he was missing them kicks, it took his soul. He just doesn't have it.
Jay, did they make a mistake not bringing a kicker into camp? Because I think that was their fatal flaw here.
I mean, you just traded for the 33rd best kicker in the league now, right? Because he got cut by someone else. So now he's.
Well, that doesn't mean he's the 33rd best.
Well,
a guy, he might be better. There's other teams.
I mean, I still think Robbie Gould, who, by the way,
I don't know why they. I was screaming about Robbie Gould yesterday. I don't know why they didn't bring him in.
I heard from Robbie. I don't know what happened yesterday. In all fairness, I think someone said he wanted $10 million.
Oh no! Wait a second. You spoke to him personally?
Yes.
Okay. Here's what happened. So this is the ultimate example of players hearing what they want to hear. I've said this a million times. You could say 100 good things about a player and one bad thing, right? And they only hear the bad thing. We posted a video yesterday where I, for 2 minutes, ranted and raved about how Robbie Gould is the best kicker in football. Not literally the best kicker in football.
Available.
One of the best kickers in football. He's never missed a kick in the playoffs. Never.
I know. Wasn't he perfect last year?
8 for 8 with the Niners. He's 58 for 58 between field goals and extra points in his playoff career. 58 for 58. Never missed one.
And those are the biggest kicks you'll make.
So I went on and I said, pay him whatever he wants. Bring him in. The only thing I said was I had read that he hadn't been in camp because he wanted more money than the typical kicker. But I said, I understand that. He's better than typical. And he responded on Twitter by saying fake news.
And real quick, to context, the tweet we put out was if Robbie Gould wants $10 million, Adam the Bull says, pay it, he's worth it.
Yeah. I would say
so. It was amazing to me that I was kissing this guy's ass for 2 minutes, and the only thing he took out of it was fake news that I had heard.
He saw
was looking for more money.
He was responding
so
to the
that
$10
is
million.
false. He says he's not looking for a ton of money.
Well, that's fine, but who cares? Why would he even respond to that?
Well, I think what he wanted to do was put out there the idea that I'm not holding. You know, this same thing happened with Odell Beckham Jr., remember?
Yeah.
There were rumors that floated out there that he was asking for an absurd sum of money.
Yeah.
He had to actually come out and say, I'm not. That's not true. I'm not asking for that money. He even went to the owners' meetings, which I thought was a brilliant move on his part.
Yep.
He got a ton of money.
Yeah.
He didn't get what was rumored to be his asking price, but he never.
But Robbie Gould's agent is talking with teams. Wouldn't they already know?
I don't know. I don't know about that.
So why didn't he come to Cleveland?
I wish he would tell me. I'm trying to find out.
Yeah.
He's got to be very careful. Remember, there are other teams.
I know.
And the possibility that he ends up in
still
Cleveland,
be here week 2.
That's exactly right. Because guess what? If our D-Hop lines up for a game-winning field goal against Cincinnati and misses a chippy, we're back in the market.
Yep,
that's right.
And that is the danger of this rotating kicker thing. It's fine in fantasy football, not in reality football. You need a kicker. It's called football for a reason.
I love pressure. I love it. I'll no more of this. Well, we going to wait and see and figure out with a guy. No. If you ain't getting it done today, I said last year, you got the first 6 games, and they must have actually been paying attention because they're actually governing like they only got 6 games, and it's quite refreshing. If this kid can come in, Hopkins, we got D-Hop. If you don't come in and kick these field goals, I'm sorry, bro. You know what type of time you on. You got a short leash.
You know, if Cade York played any other position, they would keep him around and leave him on the bench.
They probably would because of the draft thing. I mean, we're seeing that. I think we're seeing that with David Bell.
Sure.
I know we're going to talk more about Austin Watkins in a minute.
Last year.
So they did Schwartz last year.
It's every year. These guys that have that draft grade next to their name, they bring that extra cachet into the decision room. And it's a lot easier to cut a free agent that was undrafted than it is somebody that you've got capital invested.
And I get it because you saw something in that guy that made
you want
to take him
I
there.
don't get it.
Well, but you saw something in that guy. If it's only a year,
right? But now he's had, in the case of Bell, he's had a body of work to show what he can do.
Right.
And for me, I mean, I said this with Schwartz early last year. Like, okay, this guy was a miss. Why are we compounding the mistake by keeping him? Every day that guy's on the roster, you're compounding the mistake because you're keeping off the roster someone that could actually help the team.
I think, David Bell, we haven't seen anything that shows he's worth keeping. I agree with you there. But I think they did show that by cutting Cade York that, hey, we're not going to stick with a guy just because we drafted him last year. I know it's a different position. We'll get to the Austin Watkins thing later. But, the Browns had no choice here. There was no way you could go into the season and have him as a kicker because you have no faith he's going to make the kick.
Because the venom would turn from the kicker to the coach,
100%,
the general manager, and the owner.
And everybody's job's on the line right now. Everybody.
And that's why, to your point, maybe in a year where they weren't expected to do big things and everybody's watching so closely, maybe Cade York, you said last week, Wrong time, wrong team.
Wrong. They can slide you in under the radar a little bit.
Go kick for a team that has no playoff
If he's
aspirations.
going, let him go to Arizona and kick there.
I do think he could wind up on the practice squad, but I don't think he's going to clear waivers. I think another team will claim him.
I don't agree
Great
with
transition, Jason.
I don't think so.
We're going to talk about D-Hop and what he could bring to the Browns in 1 sec. We're going to do a little out of order here, but I decided we've played What's More Likely a few times. I have a little What's More Likely with Cade York's future here. Do you guys want to play before we talk about D-Hop and the rest of the Browns roster moves?
Sure.
This fits right in with where we're at.
Yep.
All right, guys. Steve, take the first one. What is more likely to happen? Cade York clears waivers and signs with the Browns practice squad, or LeBron returns to Cleveland to play for the Cavs with Bronny?
Oh, the latter.
Well,
I got a couple of these, by the way.
I think Cade York 100% is going to clear waivers, but I don't know if he's going to go to the Browns practice squad.
Jay, what's the benefit in doing that?
For him,
For the Browns.
for them, they still believe in him, and they think he just needs to get
And
his
you have
head cleared.
16 spots now on the practice squad.
I know.
Which is a difference maker
Yeah.
for a lot of these guys.
So
They'll have jobs.
And by being on the practice squad, another team can still sign you like that. It doesn't
Right.
give you rights
Anybody
to
that
that
wants
team.
him can claim him.
It
I
keeps
don't
him
know
around.
why would you think someone's going to claim him? Who could trust him right now?
I think he could get claimed because he's got a massive leg, and every team in the league thinks we can fix him. Whatever's wrong with him, we
They're
can
going to
fix
fix
him.
him now?
It's what you said, Bull.
Just a change of environment,
all
just
those,
a change of
all,
scenery.
all those kickers that people drafted, some of them end up being good. Guess what? They end up being good on the second or third team. So some team decide, all right, he got the yips out of with the Browns. We'll draft him. Maybe he needs a new.
I don't know.
Especially if it's a dome team.
Some of the high drafted kickers in recent years, you got Rodrigo Blankenship with the Colts was a disaster. He hasn't turned it around. The kid, remember the Buccaneers drafted a guy in like the second
Robert
round. a few years ago.
Aguayo.
Where did the Browns take Zane Gonzalez? He was
He was like
Zane
Zane
fifth or
Gonzalez was a 6th-round pick.
sixth
okay.
round.
Now Joseph is playing well
But I
for
don't
the
think Zane
Vikings.
Gonzalez is making a team
Joseph
either.
is another
Joseph
one.
is playing
Joseph
good,
was
but
drafted.
he
was-
gets 3 teams before he got to
And
beat with
Daniel Carlson's a perfect example of a guy who was
He's the
drafted
guy,
high
really.
by the Vikings
Yeah.
and had one terrible game. Had one terrible game in Minnesota, gets cut and goes to the Raiders, and he's doing just fine. He's having a great career.
Right.
Now, the reason why maybe he clears waivers is because maybe if this was week 1 or week 2 and teams, kind of what we're talking about, had one bad game, maybe teams aren't really actively shopping for kickers right now, but he's got such a massive leg that
There'll be kickers hurt.
I think that
there almost always is.
teams will look at him and say, the leg is too good. We can fix the other stuff.
So
Let's take a
I
chance on him.
had a former special teams coach tell me that what's intoxicating with this kid is the leg. It's you see it in Berea.
Mm-hmm.
You see him make these field goals, and you're like, okay, the ability is there.
Yeah.
It'd be like a golfer who can drive it 360, but he can't keep it in the fairway.
Yeah, but why-
You can figure that out. And I wanted to make one point on this. Cade York's rookie year, for all of the musing and all of the darts that he took, was statistically better than Phil Dawson's rookie season.
But that's not a fair comparison.
Why not?
Because the game has changed so much, even for kickers.
Kicking the ball hasn't really dramatically changed. Now, the extra point has.
It is, but the guys are so much bigger and stronger, and
We're not talking. It's not like he played in the
But
60s.
Jay, the
Bull.
percentages now of field goals made is much higher than it was when
I
Phil
think it's
Dawson
apples
first
to apples.
started.
I
don't
do.
see
It
that
was
way.
his rookie season. He was
The
dealing with some things.
Right.
I
But the
thought-
bottom line is, Jason, nobody's going to claim him because if you claim him, he's got to be your starting kicker.
Okay.
And how could you trust him to be your starting kicker right now?
because of the leg. I just think teams feel like a change is certain. Listen, maybe he does clear
Yeah.
waivers. But to your point about Phil, I did a story with Phil a couple years ago on kicking, and in a 45-minute conversation, he completely flipped my mindset.
I remember you told us about this.
Yeah, because I said, what's wrong with kicking today? Why is kicking not as good? And he's like, you're wrong. It's better than it's ever been.
Yeah.
Our expectations are higher and
Sure.
out of whack for what they should be. And he said,
We have
go
no
back.
tolerance for misses
That's
anymore.
exactly it. He said, go back and look at my rookie year. He said, look at the kickers from, Morton Anderson, Gary Anderson. The legends of the game couldn't make it today because they were, 65, 70% maybe. But so the bar is higher. But his point is also expectations are completely out of whack. And you just expect everything to go in every
Especially
time,
in
and that's not the
Cleveland.
way it works.
It's one of the most difficult
especially
places
in
to
Cleveland,
kick.
and especially when you're a young guy. We weren't talking about this is before the Browns even drafted Cade, so Cade had nothing to do with the conversation. But his point was like young guys need time to sort of figure it out, and the Browns unfortunately just don't have that time right now.
So the same special teams coach made a point that I hadn't thought of before. We've talked about how difficult it is to kick in Cleveland. Said, consider this. Pittsburgh is also one of the other most difficult venues to kick in. He said, no matter what, even now with the 9 and 8 schedule, he says if you play 9 home games, you're kicking 10 of your 17 games are in what is widely regarded to be the 2 most difficult venues to kick the football in. What he said aligns with what Phil Dawson told you. The expectations for a Cleveland kicker need to be somewhat tempered.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to, especially when you're comparing to these guys. Now, if you're playing in a dome and you're playing in a conference or a division that another team has a dome, you could play 10, 12 games in a controlled environment.
Yep.
You're going to compare his numbers. He said it would be like comparing numbers from a U.S. Open to the British Open, where the British Open is notorious for winds and elements and rain. Guys are all over the place.
Yeah.
But take an average event in the U.S. where the wind and the elements aren't a factor, and the scores are going to be dramatically better. So we do have to temper our
half a
expectations.
step further. It might have been Cade I was talking to last year about this. It was some Browns kicker in the recent past. It can change from the time that you look at the flags on the sideline to the point you get on the field to make the kick. That fast, the wind can change.
So why are they not kicking at the stadium? They should never go to Berea. They should kick outside.
So that's a
I
good
agree
question.
with that.
That is a good question.
All year.
It's one that I've asked before, and here was the answer. It doesn't matter because the winds are constantly in flux. So you can go there where the wind is constantly changing. When you go there the next time, it's going to be different.
But
it's
still,
not like it's the same
it's
wind.
still the field. It's still at the field.
And do we know for sure they don't do that?
They do. They don't do it every day. They're
No,
at the facility.
of course not.
They're usually at the facility. I'm sure that
Why can't he be there every day? Why can't
I
the kicker
agree.
be there every day?
I agree.
He lived there.
What the hell does he need to
don't
do?
need a play.
I mean, kicking in Berea where there is no wind or where
Yeah.
the wind is pretty controlled and moderate
does
no good.
And also, by the way, kicking off kickstand
Yeah.
is also very different.
Yeah.
Right.
Guys, I think
He's putting the ball exactly where he wants it.
I think we should move off of Cade York and get to Dustin Hopkins.
I
Wait,
agree.
He's the
we
kicker
got a
now.
couple more. Two more. What's more likely?
Oh, sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
Well, you guys didn't answer it though.
Bronny James, he's not coming back.
Yeah,
it's
I
over.
agree. I think LeBron and Bronny will play here.
Because when the team loses
I think it's the
faith
first
in you,
one.
it's just different.
Yeah, it's
What
hard.
was
It's
it?
like taking an old boyfriend back that cheated on you.
Yeah. And your
what
family
was
knows
What
about
was
it.
your Cade question specifically?
Yeah, you can't do that.
He like,
Clear waivers and come back to the Browns.
I'll take that.
I'm taking that too.
Okay.
All right, next one. What is more likely to happen? Cade York making a game-winning field goal against the Browns at some point in his career.
Oh yeah, book it.
Or Siaki Ika scoring an offensive touchdown before he retires.
Hey,
Give me Cade again.
Yeah.
I'll take Cade
he'll-
again.
that, that's coming.
he might hit a game winner on some BS.
Neither will ever happen. Sorry, Dave.
Yeah,
don't
the
know.
chances either.
Neither will
very
ever
low.
happen. But if I have to take one, I hate to take the first one because that's part of the loser mentality that we need to move on from. But I'll take it.
That's just the reality
Well,
of
we've
sports.
seen that movie before
Yeah.
too.
And there's nothing you can really do to affect the kicker. It's in his head. It's
I mean, of
either
all things to
either he
pick,
makes it or he
Sione
misses it, right?
Ika.
We can't,
a touchdown. I mean, give me a break.
All right, next one.
The people picking the Sione Ika touchdown are the same people that voted for Elijah Moore finishing second on the Browns in rushing yards in Earl's Bowl.
That's crazy.
Well, did anybody pick him though?
Yeah, 15% of people said that.
We had some crazy polls while he was gone. The whole game was crazy.
Glad to see things are
Pause.
consistent.
Yeah.
Super pause.
All right,
Go ahead.
next one. What's more likely to happen? Cade York never attempts another field goal in a regular season NFL game, or Cade York becomes the 6th kicker to ever make the Hall of Fame.
Never.
I don't.
Never
Like-
makes a kick.
Neither of these.
Neither of those are
I mean, you know
likely.
how hard it is to make the Hall of Fame as a kicker.
There's 4 currently in, and then I'm assuming Justin Tucker.
Well,
will be
Tucker
the
is
5th.
definitely in.
So he's
Easily.
5. So Cade York will be
Yeah.
the next kicker after Tucker.
Yeah,
that's
no.
where I get my 6.
Well, he's going to get another chance in the league.
I agree with that. I think he'll be the first guy off the shelf when somebody gets hurt.
Yeah,
I
he's going to
gotta,
get.
I gotta ridiculously go with the Hall of Fame
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
there's a 0.00001% chance he gets in the Hall of Fame, and there's no chance he never unless he dies tomorrow, which I shouldn't
we
even
do
say
not
that.
wish upon him. No, we don't wish that upon him.
He's obviously
Dark
going to get another
turn.
chance.
He has so much emphasis on that D. Pause. Sorry.
And we got one more. Last one here. What's more likely? Cade York makes an all-pro team at some point in his career, or Nick Chubb breaks a single-season rushing record before he retires.
Definitely Nick Chubb.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
Chubb.
definitely.
Yeah.
That's a possibility.
Chubb.
There you
Well,
go.
you talk about for the Browns or in the league?
Cade York at any point in his career.
No, I'm
makes an
talking about
All-Pro
Nick
team.
Chubb sets a single rushing record.
And Browns, Dolphins, whatever team he's on, doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah.